welcome back to New Wave Hockey. I'm your host, Link Dansevich, and today we are somewhere a little different. I'm in my hotel in Gothenburg, Sweden, because tomorrow I will be seeing Frölunda play Växjö in the SHL. I'm doing it. I'm traveling all over the place. I'm bringing a few friends with me, and we're experiencing SHL hockey. I will be going over my Malmo journey and my Frölunda journey in a little bit of detail when I drop my top 64 on Monday. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But today, let's get to the topic at hand, prospect of the week. For the first time, I am talking about a prospect again that I initially wrote about on newwavehockey.com. Go check it out. Anton Frondell. There has been a lot said about Frondell as of late. He is a very hot prospect. Why has he been in the news cycle so much? It's because he's been really high in a lot of people's rankings. Me and NHL Draft Pros on our weekly show, The Draft Board, have really been engrossed in draft rankings and where some draft analysts are putting this guy, and some people are putting him top 2, top 5. Do I agree with it? Let's find out. Let's kind of get into who Anton Frondell is. So at the beginning of this draft season in August, I wrote an article detailing why I thought Anton Frondell was one of the 6 big blue chip prospects in this draft class, going so far as to rank him ahead of Michael Misa and Matthew Schaefer too. There was so much hope and optimism, except he was coming off a leg injury, and then he suffered another lower body injury, pretty much sidelining him until October, and he came out really sluggish. From October to December, he did not look great at all. But once he didn't make the World Junior team for Sweden, he started to turn things around. His season kind of has been bouncing back ever since. And then most recently, on January 27th, playing IF Bjorklöven at home, he recorded a 4-point night on a line with Victor Eklund. He has been solid as of late, playing-wise. He's come back, he's looked like the old Anton Frondell that we know and love, and he's doing it in the Allsvenskan. However, we need to take a step back because people are really overrating what he can do and what kind of player he can turn into. We really need to just kind of define who he is and what his game's all about. And let's do that, going through the 5 attributes that you all know and love: skating, shooting, stick handling, passing, and IQ, and compete. Let's start with the skating. In early August, I was very critical of his skating, but I was a little bit more optimistic. I am not as optimistic now. They're definitely improving, but he's really not as fast as I would initially have hoped. He lacks speed in very key areas, the speed that would really put his game over the edge. He can't really transition right. His neutral zone game is not great. Thus, he is not relied upon to transition the puck at the Allsvenskan level. His teammate, notably Victor Eklund, does that extremely well. I will say his stride mechanics have gotten significantly better. He's been extending past the hip, and it's looking like he's got a better foundation under him. It's just the speed is not coming. He has a lack of coordination, and his balance is not that great. He definitely needs to get it going skating-wise, or he's going to start falling behind on a lot of people's lists, not just mine. Looking at the shot and scoring ability, I'm going to praise his shot once again. I compared him to Austin Matthews in August. I'm not going to go that far, but I am going to compare his shot to some pretty great ones because he's got a really, really solid shot. And he's really leaned on heavy to get high-powered shots from the middle of the ice. He's really, really solid with his shot selection. He doesn't shoot it from the perimeter. He doesn't just shoot it just to shoot it. He's always shooting with a purpose, which is a very fine trait. He's a very smart shooter, a very quick shooter, and a very heavy shooter. It's really hard to control this guy's rebounds. The one thing that I will say is that off balance, you kind of lose all of your power. He does have balance issues, and this stems from his skating woes, but besides those balance issues, his shot is really, really tight. The scoring ability is a little hampered by our next topic, stick handling. I really never understand why so many pundits were talking about Anton Frondell as a dangler going into this season. His hands are really limited when you take a look at it under the hood. Frondell does make some moves for sure, but they're not really effective. He's never going to be able to be a really fine-tuned stick handler. It looks like he's trying too much, and he makes too many mistakes to justify him playing like this. I will say though, when he uses his body and embraces his role as a puck protector, driving to the perimeter and not down the middle, he finds success. In this last month, he's been playing a much more mature game where he's been driving to the outside because he knows that otherwise he's going to get picked and he's going to start another turnover. Very good realization that this is your limitation. This is the limit that you're going to be able to be at. He has become a better puck carrier because of it, but he is never going to become that pure dangler because of his struggles with stick handling at this level at the Allsvenskan. Moving on to the passing vision and IQ, I was really heaping praise on Anton Frondell's passing vision. I'm not so quick to do that now. In the Allsvenskan, that's not really been his game. He's been the one driving the puck. He's been the one that is getting open for passes. He's not someone who's a distributor anymore. He's someone who's leaned on as a scoring option. That doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. He was an excellent passer in international play and in the J20 National. He was able to distribute pretty well, and he seemed to have a sixth sense in international play. But just because his ability as a passer in the Allsvenskan has been kind of hampered by playing against men doesn't mean that he's not making some passes. He does make the occasional really solid no look or limited look pass. I think he'll be able to succeed to some extent in the next level, but I don't think it's his bread and butter because of the skating and his stick handling. He can't really get to those open lanes like others can in this draft class. Though his abilities are hampered, don't really count him out as a passer overall. It's just not a specialty. Kind of looking towards the future and looking at his ceiling NHL wise, I think he will be heavily relied upon for his shot. Now looking at his off-puck IQ, absolutely tremendous. He is really solid at getting open despite his skating woes. He's very slippery. He is really solid at clearing lanes for his teammates. With the puck, the IQ is pretty good because of the limitations that he has. He doesn't have options and doesn't really create new options for himself. Looking at the compete, the only area of Frondell's game that has stayed consistent is his compete. He's a moose. He is just absolutely solid. The flaws in his skating and his kind of unwillingness to move his legs do lessen the extent to which he can compete, but he is really rough along the boards. He is a fierce competitor in the offensive zone. This guy is passionate. You can tell on ice. The power that he generates from his small and compact frame makes him play about 3 inches taller than he actually is. The effort is not being showcased as consistently as you would want it to be, though, because he does have a tendency to float. Again, that could be a skating thing, and get lazy on the back check. Again, could be a skating thing. Compared to his contemporaries over the whole draft class, he's a pretty solid compete. In conclusion, looking at the whole work that Anton Frondell has laid out in front of us, he's really not an easy player to have an opinion on. We all know what he's capable of. We've all seen his draft year -1 season, and we know that he can take over games. However, is he a top 10 player? I would argue just barely. I currently rank him 11th in my top 64 that I'm going to be releasing Monday. Once again, I hope that I can release it Monday. That's just hoping and praying that I can. And that's kind of the highest that I'm willing to go with him. He has yet to show me that he has unlocked that ability to be that really tight player that he was in the J20 National. I'm still going to be very skeptical of him at the Allsvenskan, and I'm even going to go see him in your gardens, hopefully before the season ends in March. I think you'll find a role in the NHL as a goal scorer with a special style of sandpaper combined with a really solid off-puck ability, which will make him a legitimate offensive two-way threat. However, there are serious questions as to how high his ceiling is. He has not played his best hockey this season, which is hopeful for the future that he can, but the tools there are not being used, and you just hope he'll have more consistency. Hopefully he'll have more nights like he did on January 27th, where he scored 4 points. I want to see that more over an entire season, not just one night. But as for me, that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this scouting report on Anton Frondell. I hope I wasn't too critical on him, because he's someone that I've watched a lot of hockey on. He's someone that I really hope becomes a star someday, because I really do love watching him play. Again, I hope you enjoyed. As always, I'm your host, Anton Frondell, signing off.